Hi, I'm Attar, music director of the Pennsylvania Chamber Orchestra. I could never imagine that this is how I was going to welcome you to our 30th anniversary season. But here we are in COVID life. This fall season will be completely online in order to keep our musicians and you safe at home. Last season was so incredible to us, especially since our move to the new recital hall at the School of Music. So for this fall, we would like to welcome you to our online concert series PCO Presents, where we will bring you highlights from some of the most incredible musical moments from last season. We cannot wait until we can be back on stage to share music with you all. But until then, please join us for these Sunday performances. If you enjoy these, please consider supporting us. We know you believe in our mission, you trust our vision, and your support will ensure that we will continue to deliver first-class music performances to our community. Stay safe and healthy, and see you at PCO Presents. Hi everyone, I'm so thrilled to have soprano Rachel Copeland here with us today. Hi Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm glad to be here speaking with you today. Thanks.
So before we start, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your current positions
Sure.
in the music world?
Sure. I am on faculty at Penn State University. I'm on the voice faculty and I teach the lyric diction sequences. I'm lucky to also get to perform with Pennsylvania Chamber Orchestra and others across the country and still doing some wonderful roles and fun things when performances come back in reality.
Yeah, so bring me to the next question. All musicians, of course, are facing hardship in this pandemic because of no gathering and etc.
Right.
But I think for singers, it's extra hard.
Yeah.
I know for choirs and I guess for soloists as well. What's your take on this in terms of, you think you'll be back after everyone else is coming back, or have you seen research on the on singing during this crisis?
Sure. And the research, the science is showing that it's one of the most dangerous activities, singing or anything with air. So some of our wind instrument friends or brass even, but the aerosols in the air, they're really as a singer, it's really dangerous the way that we exhale, but then also the way that we use the lower depths of our lungs for what we do. And so we take in more air, which then has a higher viral load. So it's a little bit more dangerous as the singer as well. I am optimistic about how things are starting to get a little bit better in Europe. Madrid just finished a Traviata. And I think there were about 20 performances of it. Now, granted, with Violetta, they can say that she had consumption and tuberculosis from the very beginning, so that, all of the people on stage kept away from her. And I believe they only used half orchestra on Monday nights and then the other half on Tuesday nights. So they were very creative, but afterwards the testing showed that nobody in the cast, nobody in the backstage area, nobody under in the pit, all of the people that participated did not contract or carry COVID during that. So I am a little bit optimistic. Hopefully we can follow that trend.
So besides performing, which I think is one thing, I know a lot of musicians actually are going to teach with mask. How is this going to affect your teaching? Is it all going to be online?
I prefer to do that online. Imagine if we're covered as singers, then we can't open unless there's a huge flexibility in your mask. And so with some of my younger students, or I shouldn't even say younger, I should say less advanced students, I worry about the tensions that might unintentionally create.
Right.
And there are some great masks now that do have more space, and they're clear, so you can see through. So that's a good thing. But if it's a cloth mask or even the medically prescribed N95s, we can't see that. And as a teacher, this is the area that we do need to see.
So in the concert that we're going to show our audience today, we have an aria by Mozart that you sang with us in our first concert at the new School of Music in the recital hall, and of course Britten, Lovely's Les Illuminations. I am wondering, it's always, I think people don't think about it when singers learn their repertoire. It's not just the notes that you have to learn, but it's the languages. And you sing in Italian and in French in one concert. How do you approach learning languages and text and diction? I mean, what's your general philosophy? Because you have to be so versatile in so many languages.
Hopefully, right? I consider myself very fortunate. I grew up playing the piano. So learning notes and rhythms is fairly easy for me. Some vocalists, that's a little bit harder because they tend to start their studies a little bit later. But I consider myself very lucky. So I spend more time actually with the language and the sounds because the other stuff comes so easy.
Okay.
I rely a lot on International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA, which is it is a way to transcribe languages into sounds. And so that has helped me a lot, for example, in Czech or in Russian, because you can use these symbols that that carry from every language that you're familiar with to ones that you're not. One of the tricky parts about this Britten was the speed of the French. And also, if we think about it from the nature of it was a naturally set French piece, then set by an English composer, but to be sung in French, sometimes the nuance of the language was a little off. And I'm not putting Britten down by any means because I totally love him. Like Schubert would do the same, even Puccini every now and then, not to sacrifice the music of it. But I think it provided some nice challenges, but beautifully fun and such an evocative text. So it was always well worth the investment. But I do spend more time, for me, getting the language comfortable. First, really just being able to speak it and be comfortable with it, not even with the music. And then trying to be comfortable with it within the right rhythm of the music, and then putting it on the right notes. That is my process if we were to break it down.
Well, I think in those two pieces that you sang in a concert, one of them you sang many times, the Mozart, right? And then the Britten was it completely new, or you only sang it once?
It was new. I had never done it before.
Okay.
And I would love to get my hands on it again.
Trust me too. That was my first time conducting it as well. So what would you say were maybe you can elaborate more about what were the challenges in the Britten besides the language? Maybe were there weird intervals? Were there just like sometimes tonalities that were hard to grasp? All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
I think the challenges are also some range. There's that one piece that starts da 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 da, and it's nice and low. And even if we think about this, this was a piece originally written for soprano, but I think actually tenors probably do it more now. But I've heard all of the tenors say that first note it's number 3, I think, and it's just and it's so low for them, especially. It's a little easier for women because we can just jump into our chest voice for something like that. But there is a very nice range throughout this piece, and so being able to have that nice and secure, but also having just come from those beautiful, really like pianissimo high Bs, it's really challenging to try to balance that perfectly and do what the composer really wanted. I think some other challenges with this piece, and it's what also makes it so beautiful, is the fact that each piece has a different style, a different feel, a different mood. And it's our job as the musicians, as the singers, to create the evocative feelings that the text not only says, but then the music also wants us to create. But each one is a little, it's a little bit different. It's completely different than the arc of a character, throughout the course of an entire opera.
I see. Wow. Interesting. Well, you did beautifully. I can tell you that, and I'm sure the audience will do that. And I surely hope we can do that one again. I remember actually the first thing you said to me when we got off stage was, I want to do it again.
Is that what I said?
So I was like,
Well,
sure, yeah.
well, I had an excellent orchestra to be doing it with, and man, the way that those musicians played it was just spectacular. So thank you for saying that I sang it well, but I could not have done it without
it was
you
beautiful.
and the
And
music.
actually, that brings me to our last question that I want to ask you: what it meant to you to perform with the Pennsylvania Chamber Orchestra?
Wow. Being new on the faculty, last year was the start of my second year, and being asked to be a part of your season opener really just felt like this is a wonderful new place for me, a nice new home, and seeing so many of familiar faces in both the audience as well as on stage with me. It was just a really beautifully welcoming environment, and I was very honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, we were honored to have you share the stage with us, and I really hope we could do this really soon.
Yes, and thank you to everybody who is watching the online versions, because we want to be in person and one day we will be.
Yes,
but thank you for
absolutely.
maintaining your support of what we all do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Rachel, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Maestro. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lynn Hutchison, a member of the Board of Directors of the Pennsylvania Chamber Orchestra. On behalf of Yanni Attar, our music director, members of the Chamber Orchestra, and the Board of Directors, we want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. We hope this afternoon's performance has brought you enjoyment and relief from these uncertain times. We will continue to bring you previously recorded performances from this past year. For a listing of those performances and the dates of those performances, please visit our website at www.pachamberorchestra.org. If you enjoyed today's program, please consider supporting the orchestra with a financial gift. Each and every donation, no matter the size, makes a difference and helps ensure that the Chamber Orchestra will be able to bring live music to our community in the future. Be sure to join us in 2 weeks for another installment of PCO Presents. Once again, thank you, be safe, and most important, be positive.